JCLady.
Hi, this is Joanna, and I'm talking to you from the channel JCLady, Alternative Education. And today it's the 8th, I guess, video about the ancient grammar. And I'm talking about the ancient grammar, about the Polish grammar as an example of the ancient grammar. And the topic today is aspects. We are still in the bigger topic of a verb, and I already talked about tenses. I talked about conjugations, and now I'm going to talk about aspects because it's connected. So in fact, I already started talking about aspects when I was talking about conjugations. So in the previous video, look at it, and I said that three aspects, but they are in pairs. So two pairs of aspects, they are connected to conjugations, and basically they are kind of most important because they are they have the most forms because there are conjugations over there. But let's now, I already talked about conjugations. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at all aspects. And to have some order in all that, we are now in verb part. So verb as a part of speech. And when we talk about the verb, we've got tenses, right? The higher category. And a little lower, more detailed, are aspects. And that's how you get all the names, for example, for tenses usually. But they are there are two parts: tense or time, simply past, present, future, and aspect, meaning how exactly is it the action done. So what have we got? We have jednokrotne, wielokrotne, which is simply your aspect. Jednokrotny is continuous and wielokrotny is simple. Those are aspects, and that's very, very clear. And when I was studying English at my teacher's studies, when I was learning to be a teacher, I heard it from the lady who was teaching English grammar. That's how it started, and that's how it should be seen. There are no tenses in the sense of time, right? And the tenses are, they've got those two parts, time and aspect. So jednokrotny, wielokrotny, continuous, simple, that's one aspect. But you see it's a pair. So maybe let's talk here. Let's maybe simplify or clarify that those are pairs. All of them are pairs. Pick. Two. Pair. But it's a kind of switch on, switch off pair. Meaning that it's like a factory. When it like when you've got candies that needs to be colored. So they go together, but at some moment it's separated. One will be yellow, the other will be red. And the yellow cannot be red and the red cannot be yellow because that's how they decided that it will be separate, not mixed. So it's like either here or here, switch on or switch off. If you've got simple, you don't have continuous. If you've got continuous, you don't have simple, right? And that's how it works. Then you've got dokonane, niedokonane. Dokonane, it means in English perfect. Perfect just means perfect. It means the full cycle. It's complete. It's done. It's terminated. It's finished. That's what perfectus, perfectum in English is. Dokonane. And in Polish it means finished. And niedokonane, here is DK, DKNK in Polish, DKNK. NK, it's niedokonane, so it's not terminated. Imperfect, right? something which is just not perfect, right? Not finished. Those are two aspects. Now let's continue. Here we've got NOPO. In English it would be NOPO, which is simply negative, positive. Negative, positive. Just when you've got a negation or you don't have the negation, right? When you say I like it or I don't like it. And of course, in each language, you do the negation a little differently. But that's not here are the forms. But either it's positive or it's negative with negation. Right? Here or here. The other pair is WP, WP, UP. In Polish we say WP, it's współczesny, and here it's uprzedni. What it is, it's all about coordinates, you can say. So, I think it's French. In English, you say just how do you put together your actions? So you've got two possibilities, and that's all about the sentences which are not simple sentence, right? It's not one action. It's when you've got few actions, at least two. And you can do it either at the same time, and it will be współczesny. So it will be the action done at the same time, right? Or you can do it one after another. But that's what you... here comes not really the problem, but all the story, all the theory of your past perfect, present perfect, okay, present continuous, past continuous. Like when you use, but here in English you use it in fact often with continuous and simple. I guess it's a little mixed. Those aspects in English are a little mixed, meaning simple, continuous, and action at the same time and action one after another. It's a little mixed in English. But when you've got, for example, the sentence, two sentences or one sentence connected, and one is in present simple, the other is in present continuous, it's still a one-time action, right? But here two aspects are connected, in fact. So you've got, for example, I'm sitting, that will be present as tense, time, and continuous as aspect. Something that you do one time at once when we are really focused on this one action. And then comes present simple. I am sitting. Well, usually you don't really use present simple. You use past simple or well, you can use present simple too. Yeah, I guess. But in past, it's more often used. Okay, so I'm sitting and you come. Or in past, it's really used. I was sitting when you came. But that's those actions, in fact, are at the same time, right? It is a little an aspect like that one started earlier, but it continues, and one time they meet, all right? But there is an option, really, when one is really before the other. And usually you use the past perfect, right? And there is the whole story, like when you change it, like what tense go into what, and so on. Anyway, in Polish, that pair, because I will talk about it more in another video, I will not talk more here, that aspect, it's just an aspect, right? It makes forms and it makes tenses with certain names, but it's the aspect of action, do two actions at least done at the same time, or action do one after another. Okay? Next, zwrotny, niewrotny. Zwrotny, it just means direction. Like, do you do the action on yourself, or do you do the action on somebody else? And you use pronouns for that, right? And you can say, I'm washing myself. So in Polish we call it zwrotny because the action goes here and it zawraca, meaning goes back. So in Polish we call it the aspect which is turning back to me. All right, zwrotny. I'm washing myself, and pronouns create this aspect, right? Or if not me, then I can do the action on somebody else. I'm washing you, right? Or I'm washing the baby. You can use, of course, nouns and so on, other phrases, but basically it's all about pronouns. Either me or you, either me or him, okay, or her. So that's zwrotny, niewrotny. And niewrotny, because zwrotny is like when the action goes out, because I do it like this, but then I turn it to myself. That's zwrotny. But niewrotny, it's when it doesn't come back to me. So we call it niewrotny. Doesn't come back to me, okay? Goes to somebody else. That's an aspect. And from the other side, O, B, no B, O, B, and B. That just means that it's personal or impersonal. Either we know who does it or we don't know who does it, and it's very general. We can know who does it. For example, I do it, you do it, I sleep, you sleep, he sleeps, she sleeps. Or you can say, in Polish you would say we use the verb form, and there's even no pronoun or no other noun, and we would say spano or śpi się, and we use the reflective, you say, yeah, pronoun, and it means it sleeps by itself. Okay, so but in English I guess you would have to use it. It's not fully impersonal in Polish, because I mean in English it is impersonal because you don't have neuter gender in the sense of noun, and you don't really have neuter, I would say. It is just like an object, so it in fact means that when you use it in English, it's becoming impersonal. All right, but in Polish you just use a special form, and usually there's no pronoun or reflexive pronoun, like się, so myself, herself, because we've got neuter, so you cannot really say it in the sense like the object or the baby. And here is passive and active. And passive and active is kind of connected to personal and impersonal, because when you've got passive aspect, however, it's separate, right? When you've got passive, the house is built. It is there are two aspects connected, meaning it's passive aspect, meaning that some passive is when the focus is on the fact that the action is done on something. We don't focus on the actor, right? We don't focus on the person who acts. And active, yes, it's from the perspective of the person who is acting, who is doing things, the doer, right? And in passive, there is the doer, but we don't know who it is. So in English, it's probably in Polish. Yeah, it's a little like that, but we've got also other forms. But in English, you've got in passive, it's impersonal. But in Polish we've got it too, and we say dom jest budowany, so the house is built or is being built, or but we've got also the house buduje się, so the house builds itself, you would say. That's impersonal. Okay, I guess that's it. That's aspects, but I will talk about each of them separately. Now, just remember that the language creates the word, manifests your word. Bye.